Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be one of the most important YouTube segments you watch all day. That's not hyperbole. That is the truth. This is an extremely, extremely informative segment. Why? A couple of articles that are going to be below. The Bleacher Report. Colin Kaepernick benched Blaine Gabbert to start versus Falcons, November 2nd, 2015. Colin Kaepernick's nightmare 2015 season reached a fever pitch Monday as the San Francisco 49ers have benched the quarterback and named Blaine Gabbert the starter against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. This is during President Obama's administration. This is before the anthem protest. If you want to, if they say there should be Colin Kaepernick Appreciation Day, you can start with San Francisco 49ers Condemnation Day. Before the anthem protest, they benched Colin Kaepernick for Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert wasn't as good as Kaepernick. So to Kaepernick's defense, the 49ers had like a whole bunch of different coaches and offensive head coaches and all of that. So he was actually a really great quarterback for a stretch. And then the franchise had problems, and then they benched him. So this had nothing. Okay, then the NFL got involved. And then he became a national hero as to today's popular culture. In 2015 and 2016, nobody on the left, very few, were defending Colin Kaepernick. I did in a Huffington Post article. So I wrote a Huffington Post article. 70% of NFL players are black men. Colin Kaepernick should be praised, not condemned. At that moment, what he did, I stand during the national anthem. Democrats stand. They will never kneel during the national anthem. They're taking advantage politically of what's going on, what's turned into groupthink and a great deal of peer pressure and a great deal of people just utilizing the protest to promote how virtuous they are. Back when President Obama was president, nobody was defending Colin Kaepernick. I wrote an article defending Colin Kaepernick. That's below. The anthem protest has turned into something completely different at this point. There's a Ben & Jerry's ice cream named after Kaepernick now. Tom Brady is being disparaged for winning. He's now basically the god of quarterbacks. I'll get to President Trump being acquitted completely. A certainty, imminent. He will be acquitted because he's protected under the First Amendment. But just to give you the mindset, he's protected under the First Amendment. He's protected under free speech that allows for political speech. He did not advocate or instruct anyone to do anything. Furthermore, you're not going to get 17 GOP senators. But really quickly, why is it important that I wrote this during President Obama's administration, before I became a supporter of President Trump? Nobody was giving him credit on the left. Very few people, I should say. None of the liberals, I should say. You want to know who condemned who condemned Kaepernick? President Obama. This is a Politico article. Obama asks Kaepernick to think about pain he's causing military families. Could you imagine if Trump said this? So I'm going to give you these articles, very, very important. Obama asks Kaepernick to think about pain he's causing military families. President Barack Obama wants Colin Kaepernick. This is September 28, 2016. President Barack Obama wants Colin Kaepernick to think about the pain he's causing military families the next time he takes a knee during the national anthem. I wrote, this is the difference between the way I am and the way media is. I wrote in September of 2016, I was one of the few people to defend Kaepernick. his protest at that point did not turn into what it's turned into. A big Nike deal, Ben and Jerry's, the social media praise, Democrats utilizing this for political, victories or social media political utility. The same month of that year, Obama asks Kaepernick to think about the pain he's causing military families. This is by Nahal Tusi, Politico, September 28, 2016. President Barack Obama wants Colin Kaepernick to think about the pain he's causing military families the next time he takes a knee during the national anthem. Very different from what I wrote in the Huffington Post. Obama was asked about the controversy. This is just not an opinion. The journalist is reporting. So Obama was asked about the controversy over the football players' protest move during a CNN town hall with members of America's armed forces community. On Wednesday, Kaepernick, a quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, has sat or kneeled when the national anthem is played during recent games to draw attention to racial oppression in the U.S. While President Obama was president, while Democrats were running the White House. Especially police shooting, of black men. The president defended Kaepernick and others who have joined him in such acts, which many Americans consider offensive, saying, quote, "We fight sometimes so that people can do things that we disagree with." Okay, again, but then he writes, this is typical Democratic politicians. Sometimes out of these controversies, we start getting into a conversation, and I want everyone to listen to each other. So I want Mr. Kaepernick and others who are on a knee, I want them to listen to the pain that may cause somebody who, for example, had a spouse or a child who lost their life in combat, and why it hurts them to see somebody not standing. So President Obama sides with Trump, with President Trump. Now, President Trump should not have insulted the NFL athletes. He should have created a dialogue and a discussion and a debate and discourse. But President Trump is a bulldozer and a sledgehammer when it comes to his viewpoint, which is good and also sometimes bad. Now you get all this social media nonsense, especially on Twitter. Kaepernick Appreciation Day, and oh my God, and Tom Brady. So that's not Tom Brady's fault. It's not President Trump's fault. And the NFL allowed the 49ers and other teams not to hire Kaepernick because of the protest, and they did so. The last year of President Obama's administration, I should say the beginning of Trump's administration, 2017 as well, obviously. But the president added, so he took both sides of the controversy, but of course he was in front of military families and the military, so President Obama stated that to think about the pain he's causing military families. This is the Politico article in September. Okay, why are these articles important? The articles are important, ladies and gentlemen, because what's taking place. And you have an article talking about 17. So below in the in the description, you'll also have 17. You need 17 Republicans to convict President Trump during a trial. It ain't going to happen. So President Trump will win his own Super Bowl just like Brady. Brady is now, because he'll be acquitted twice, and that'll be a political loss for Democrats. Why did I bring this up 9 minutes? Okay, if you lasted 9 minutes, I know there are some people who are like, why did you defend Colin Kaepernick? Well, what he did when he did it was important. For him to do what he did, for it to become what it's become is a different story. I'm not going to weigh into that. What I will say is that Democrats are utilizing this. Democrats are utilizing this for the typical shameless, self-serving, duplicitous, disingenuous, insidious political stunt or public relations ploy. They will never kneel. Why is that? Why is it that they are so appreciative of Colin Kaepernick, and you have Robert Reich, and you have every Clinton-era Democrat and President Obama's administration officials, and you have everyone saying, gosh, oh my God, he's so amazing. Well, why don't they kneel during the national anthem? Why doesn't Biden kneel, or Pelosi? I was going to say Pelosi or Schumer. Why don't they kneel? Okay? I wouldn't kneel during the national anthem. I don't feel it's right. If you say, well, these are horrible things yeah, but there are so many tragedies that take place. He was kneeling during President Obama's administration, number one. Number two, he was also talking about foreign policy, Kaepernick. Number three, there was Standing Rock right around that time, okay? Flint. You had a whole bunch of things that took place during President Obama's administration. You had articles, orphaned by deportation. You could take a knee for that. For all the people for all the children of immigrants who were separated from families during President Obama's administration. This is a Guardian article. Look it up, orphaned by deportation. Then there was a Senate report. I can't even talk about the Senate report, but it had to deal with younger people and what President Obama allowed to happen pertaining to immigration, because a lot of unaccompanied minors were being were entering the United States. Read the Senate report. It's more horrendous than anything that you heard about President Trump, which he ended that policy as he should have. That was a bad policy. He ended it in June of 2018. But why don't Democrats kneel? Instead of hating on Brady, yesterday I was like, okay, I didn't really want I didn't want to see Tom Brady with 7 championships every year. Fine, it got a little boring, but the fact that now he's somehow people are trying to shame him for it on social media. I don't have a Twitter account. I told everyone, delete your Twitter account 2 years ago. I told everyone this. I haven't had Twitter for 2 years. I haven't had Facebook for 2 years. But on Twitter and Facebook, they're saying, oh my God, Trump's going to go on trial, and Brady, and we have to watch Brady. It's he worked hard, and he's the best quarterback of all time. So what does that have to do with Kaepernick? So they're like, we got to remember Kaepernick now. It's did you remember that the 49ers benched him? If you want a Kaepernick Appreciation Day, what about a condemnation for the San Francisco 49ers and the NFL? And the NFL commissioner's role in all of this. And the teams that passed Kaepernick up. Specifically because of the anthem protest. But see, again, everything's twisted. When Ben & Jerry's, you get a Nike deal in Ben & Jerry's, it's now different from what I wrote about. Which doesn't matter what I wrote about. I mean, it doesn't matter, if it's different, if now it's, President Trump signed prison reform legislation, and President Trump allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever, including President Obama and Clinton. And he absolved $300 million in loans from HBCUs from Katrina, which is good. He should have given, I wish there was $1 billion a year instead of $255 million permanent funding. That's a good thing. Democrats didn't do that. That was President Trump's administration. Now, all his accomplishments have been erased from history. They literally want to. I've been telling you they want to erase Trump from history. Slate has an article, The ancient Romans had a strange way of dealing with people like Donald Trump, which was trying to erase him from history. Just because of you want to erase the Abraham Accords, the peace between North and South Korea, the beginning of? You want to erase the First Step Act? You want to erase all the good things that took place during President Trump's administration? Are you kidding? These people are complete, either they're tools or they're just political operatives that manipulate. They're opportunists. The issue with Kaepernick started with the San Francisco 49ers. They benched him. The article's below. President Obama condemned his protest. in the Democratic politician way of condemnation. Well, I support it, but you got to think of the pain you're causing people. That was President Obama stated this, not Trump. That's far more of a condemnation than even the insult. Like, Trump should never have insulted. There's no good in what he did. There was no good. And you're like, oh yeah, you showed it, people. I wouldn't sit during the national anthem because being a citizen of a country, you know that there's bad things taking place. Of course, what took place, the police brutality, black men and women experiencing brutality at the hands of police is a horrendous thing. Needs to be addressed on a federal level. President Obama did not. The Democrats did not. Now, President Trump didn't, but he did other things. Okay, but it should be addressed in this country. I agree with that. But Democrats aren't kneeling. Why? Because they derive and extract, they leech every ounce of political utility from a protest that's now not, it's not like what it once was, in my view. Anyway, this relates to, which is why I defended what he did, because nobody was doing so. Nobody was defending what he did on the left. Nobody. You think Robert Reich and all these people, the reason I bring up his name is like he's never given any thoughts on football. But suddenly we need to appreciate Colin Kaepernick. Well, he has a Ben & Jerry ice cream now, a Nike deal. He's a hero on every social media platform. Now it's like the protest has gone from a protest that was during President Obama's administration, highlighting the injustices and inhumanity that took place during a Democrat's administration, including foreign policy, because they talked to Kaepernick about foreign policy, and he talked about foreign policy. But then it turned into another tool to just, level contempt at Trump's America. But it was President Obama's America that started the protest to begin with. So I think a lot of things have been forgotten and then, utilized for political benefit. The Democrats will never kneel. You want to know, a lot of the top liberal YouTubers live in Southern California. They had every chance in the world, top progressive YouTubers who, talk about the social issues and how horrible and racist Trump was. And they didn't march. They didn't march in Los Angeles. They weren't at any of the marches. Why? Where's the video footage? And I could name a list of progressive YouTubers who live in Southern California. Where were they? They're not going to, you can rest assured, they're not going to kneel in the stands during the national anthem. No way. You can rest assured that when there is a march or there is a protest, whether it's any left-leaning organization, it could be any of a number of left-leaning organizations, they're not going to be marching. Why? For the same reason Pelosi won't kneel. And none of the, you think any of the progressives, AOC, Bernie Sanders, why doesn't Bernie Sanders kneel? I'm going to kneel right now during the national anthem. Everyone, look at my mittens. They're going to touch the floor and I'm going to kneel. He's not going to do that, just like he won't push for Medicare for all. It's the left is a grift, it's a racket, a scam. And whereas, his protest was pure in the beginning, in my view, because he was the only person doing it. The fact that others are doing it, many other people are doing it right now, that doesn't make it, it's still pure in that they're trying to achieve justice, but it's become, it hasn't become this statement against political power. It's now a social media, it's now accepted everywhere in American culture, and it's utilized for political benefit by one political party, the Democratic Party. And they're not kneeling, just like they won't indict or level charges against Trump or convict Trump. Everything Democrats do is smoke and mirrors. It's public relations. Without public relations, they have nothing. But the main thing is the Republican Party. The Republican Party is inept, full of cowards, and full of, you have Liz Cheney saying that Trump's going to be investigated now. There's an investigation, a criminal investigation into his role He didn't have a role. The protests shouldn't even have taken place that day. There should have been a national dialogue, discourse, debate, discussion. There wasn't. So it was a protest that got out of hand, where you had a small group of people, a relatively small group of people, committing some really horrible, invading the building, and that had nothing to do with Trump. Trump had, no knowledge, nothing. But just like the $1 billion to $2 billion in property damage from protests that got out of hand 5 to 6 months prior to November, which CNN says fiery but peaceful, we've seen this happen. Anyway, the issue is that they're trying now to say that this is what happened in D.C. was just like 20 years ago in September, that I can't even bring up the actual word. These people have no argument. So everything is hyperbolic and extreme. So the organizations that hit us 20 years ago are the same as the Trump supporters, don't you know? It's the same thing. These people have lost it. So they have a completely warped mentality. And it's the Republicans like Liz Cheney and Romney. They're silent. The Republican Party is composed of cowards and they're inept. Slowly, Trump is transforming them. 2022, you will get a Republican Party that serves as an opposition to social media, the tech titans, an opposition to media narratives and spins, an opposition to the same people who think that what took place in D.C. is just like 20 years ago. I mean, and the same people who won't realize that it's like, oh my God. The issue is that there's no logic. There's no logical reasoning skills. It's only emotion on the left. That's it. There's emotion on the right too. But popular culture and social media and American political discourse runs through the lenses of oftentimes apoplectic liberal Democrats who find any way to feel morally superior, yet don't put in the work to actually be morally superior. In many ways, they have a deficit in terms of morality. They're not morally superior, perhaps the opposite of that, because they're not kneeling. If you go to a sporting event, how many people in the stands voted for Biden and how many people are kneeling? The Biden voters aren't kneeling. There are military parades and military and Pentagon and speeches, and you don't see Biden or Pelosi or Schumer kneeling. Why not? Why not? They'll derive every ounce of benefit from Colin Kaepernick, but they won't kneel themselves because they know they'd be done as a political party, Democrats. So they straddle the fence. It's an appreciation day, yes. And they go, Twitter exists now as an alternate reality to create and foment the absurd belief that apoplectic liberals are morally superior to everyone else because they feel a certain way, not because they actually put in the work or take the risk. It's true, Kaepernick took a huge risk when he first did what he did. Okay, now there is no risk. So that's, I think, what I'm trying to say, the difference. Now everyone has said, okay, he's a hero, but the Democrats who are saying this are deriving benefit, but not actually putting in any work, or they're not risking anything themselves. They're just extracting political utility. Just like the progressive YouTubers and the progressives in Congress, and where were the Congress people marching alongside protesters for the 5 or 6 months? Why didn't Congress people go to Portland or Seattle? Why didn't all the top progressives go to Portland or Seattle? Or any major city? But especially Portland and Seattle. Why not? Or Minneapolis? Where's the video? I want to see the video of progressives marching. You won't see them. Because everyone on the left is, Most, not everybody, because the people marching, they marched. There was a tremendous amount of mayhem and chaos associated with the marches, which possibly is why all the progressives didn't march. Just like a lot of the progressives won't kneel during the national anthem. Hey, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Now they're going after Brady. It's like, there's nothing, like, Brady should be celebrated. And Colin Kaepernick, what he did, it's true. It was heroic. In what he did when he was doing it alone is heroic. Now, when you have a Ben & Jerry's and a Nike deal, it's a little different story. But it was the San Francisco 49ers that first started. It wasn't America, and it was President Obama's administration that presided over this, and it was President Obama that condemned, in his own way, Kaepernick's protest. And why Kaepernick didn't find a job as a QB is because first the San Francisco 49ers, then other NFL teams, but it was first the Niners who benched him. So it's like everybody has this whole thing twisted. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now.